Top 5 biggest losers in Season 11. At number 5, it's Tracer. She didn't get any changes this patch, but she's quietly got a recall nerf a month ago, and she's been very slowly dropping out of meta. She's still good, don't get me wrong, but Venture shots her down the majority of the time, the new cast nade shots her down even harder, and Pharah, Genji, Echo just get more value than her most of the time. At number 4, it's Kiriko.
I do want to pause for 1 second here. When Tracer gets nerfed, Tracer still brings so much value, and I think, like, that won't change with the DPS passive. If the DPS passive exists, Tracer will still be good. Now, it doesn't mean that Tracer can't not, you know, like as said, like, Echo and Pharah will do well, but, like, Tracer can definitely, like, still bring value just because of the DPS passive alone.
I wouldn't be shocked if she's still gonna be meta.
I agree.
But that TP nerf is actually quite substantial. Kiriko often escapes by the...
This one makes sense. I mean, this was just a straight-up Kiriko nerf, one of the first ones we've seen in a long time. Yeah, I mean, straight up, this is not a good change for Kiriko here. When I say not a good change, I mean, if you're a Kiriko player, this will not be a good change. Players will like this because now you have an easier follow-up on Kiriko and your shatters get more value, and even, like, Mauga benefits from, like, this type of change, which is always interesting when something benefits Mauga.
The skin of her teeth after she TPs.
Yep.
Now this gives a much bigger window for dive heroes to punish Kiriko.
I mean, you could argue you can even make it 9 seconds, but...
At number 3, it's Brig. Mauga is incredibly strong, Pharah is incredibly strong. Can you guess who isn't good into those heroes? Yeah, it's Brig. When we do get a dive meta going, then Brig's gonna see more playtime, but as of right now, her defensive utility just isn't needed. At number 2, it's Hog.
To give you an idea here, by the way, Brig does struggle against poke comps because you can't proc Inspire as much. So what that means is that when you have to deal with poke comps consistently, a poke comp is a comp that, like, can play distance, never really engages you. Brig will lose a bit of value there. I will say, though, that Brig can still be really good. You just have to kind of shift into, like, who's my tank, who am I keeping alive mode. And what I mean by that is, like, sometimes Iana's your tank. You can make Brig still work. But yeah, I mean, this is more about, like, a hero that will struggle a bit more in Season 11, and I think you can agree, not agree, I think that, like, against those poke comps, finding the value on Brig becomes a bit more difficult.
This guy has been hit with the nerf bat over the last 2 patches, quietly receiving a breather nerf towards the end of May, now receiving a HP nerf and a further breather nerf. One of the best coaches in the world, Rush, tweeted about why Hog was getting nerfed in the first place, making fun of Western or NA players, picking Hog in particular. Also, Mauga is a top 3 tank right now, and Hog isn't very good into Mauga. And at number 1,
I'm gonna pause because it's referenced there, and this is something that I've had to learn over the years. The way that the game will play in, like, let's say OWCS, top 500, GM lobbies, etc., is not the same game that is being played in, like, a gold game right now. So a lot of the reason as to why they're nerfing Hog and they're doing these changes to Hog is because the experience in other ranks is not going well for players. So they're trying to find ways to make Hog a pickable hero, but not have the same dominating effect that the hero has in a lot of ranks. That's why, like, if you look at it and go, oh wait, I'm never going to see a Hog in a scrim or a match, well, that's not what's going to happen. Hog is just a dominant ladder hero that players don't like playing against a ton. Doesn't mean the hero wasn't fun to play. So what they had to do is they had to make shifts to the hero to make the hero just have less value. It wasn't because of, like, pro play or anything like that. It's just because the hero itself on ladder is a menace. So players didn't want to deal with that, and the numbers are clearly backing up that Hog is still making it unfun for people, so they're making changes. Which is a surprise, though, because they also didn't change Mauga with that, but maybe the stats are different, right? You may see a 55% win rate on Hog, but then a 45% on Mauga, and they're like, well, we can't do those changes, so.
She finally got the change we've all been waiting for. A buff to her SMG, so lower level players who can't aim their railgun can get more value, but a nerf to a secondary fire railgun, so now she can't one-shot nearly as consistently as she used to. Her pick rate in lower levels shouldn't change too much, but now at the top level, I wouldn't be shocked to see Cass and Ashe get more playtime. As always, if you enjoyed,
just to pause very quickly here, I will say this, Sojourn, without a doubt, feels a lot different now in top 500. At first, I wasn't quite sure because they were doing the thing where, like, what they do, a lot of the time they try not to nerf, they try to shift power. And what I mean, and obviously, like, you saw a couple changes in this video already that doesn't do that, but they wanted to shift the power of Sojourn. And I didn't know really what to expect, so my initial reaction was like, where is this going? It took me about 2 games, if that, to realize that Sojourn change, and I will give credit where credit's due, changed how Sojourn plays. The burst damage is way less valuable, exactly, in metal ranks. Sojourn can get a bit more value because it's less reliant on the right click. It's easier to play against a Sojourn now, and it's also made the tank experience better because of that. So it's been a good change for like the game itself when it comes to the tank side. But yeah, just a little side note.
Be sure to like and follow, and if you want to get my coaching, check the top link in the bio. Let me know your thoughts on the patch in the comments.
This one's from Zinzor, who has done a lot of Wrecking Ball techs. This is Wrecking Ball Tech Part 16, and this one just says the Mini Blender. I don't know what to expect out of this one, but hey, listen, anytime I can get better at Wrecking Ball, that's a good thing.
Wrecking Ball techs in under 60 seconds.
I'm ready.
16. This is what I call a mini blender, and here's how you do it.
Okay.
So the rework we got for Ball in Season 10 actually made it so that if you retract all the way in, you actually have a way lesser distance between you and the grappling point. Which means that you can grapple onto a lot of places now and just spin with Fireball for 6 seconds. You can do this in tons of spots like stairs, small
so you can
ledges,
gain momentum.
or anything like that. So here's a few examples.
So you use your retract and then keep the momentum going. That's cool. I'm going to try that today in a quick play.
You can also do a vertical version of this.
This I can do. I've learned this already, like, where if you use the retract correctly, you can do these really cool plays. Like this, yeah. The retract gives me so much more momentum now that it's, like, unreal. If you haven't played Wrecking Ball yet, that is good.
Text, part 17.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, Zinzor has done a lot of really cool Wrecking Ball tech. If you want to learn Wrecking Ball tech, that TikTok is certainly good for that. All right, next one we have here is from Senti, saying Wrecking Ball interaction voice lines, part 2.
You're a pro at bowling.
The hamster says goodbye.
Aww, who am I going to go with now?
Tuesdays are usually free.
From one engineer to another, why a ball?
A wheel would fall over.
Delightful.
Okay.
The champ himself. Can you sign me for head?
He does not do autographs.
What?
I can't perform a checkup with you in the ball.
The ball is safe. The ball is kind.
Cause trouble in my city, and I will show you how we deal with vermin.
The hamster will use your chassis as a vacation home.
I have always wondered what it is like being inside an orb.
He says, don't even think about it. He wonders if you are staying out of combat.
Of course not.
He asks why you left your gun at home then.
I will not be disrespected by vermin.
Hammond, did you eat Ganymede's bird feed again?
He asks whether it's still called bird feed if a hamster eats it.
That's a shame. I'll be giving these cookies I made to teammates who deserve them.
Translation failure. Profanity database error.
I love that. See, these I didn't even know these existed. I love those interactions with Wrecking Ball. I just love those like little interactions that like you don't normally see or like expect. That's really cool. I love that. All right, next we have Neander again. They come back with Overwatch tips, Mercy's GA or Guardian Angel versus Boops. Oh, I can learn a thing or two because I'm terrible at Mercy.
Everyone should know that Mercy's Guardian Angel and the slingshots afterwards behave pretty differently. Mercy will ignore some boops during Guardian Angel, like Lucio's or Brigida's whip shots.
That makes sense.
However, she'll be bumped as expected if hit during the slingshot phase. Mercy can actually Guardian Angel through Ramacha's Vortex if your target is on the other side just fine, even if you begin in the air. However, if you slingshot into it or do so...
Little pause. Does it feel like the Vortex should stop the Mercy from doing that? Because I feel like that adds an extra skill expression to it if you can find ways to like prevent a Mercy from doing that. I don't know if that's intended. It feels like the Vortex should stop that. But it's cool that it's a tech that you can do for now.
So while in it, then you will be slowed down. A super jump also gets you dragged to the floor.
Yeah, so you just fly through it though.
It's a similar case with Drunken Queen's Knife. During GA, Mercy won't be pulled back, but during the extended jump, she will be. These same things happen with Wrecking Ball's Pile Drive and Flame Boop. As for Doomfist's Punch, well, that actually does cancel.
You know, it kind of makes sense now, because like there's times where Mercies just kind of get away from you, and I feel like really good Mercies do such a good job of getting away from you. It makes sense seeing how that tech works. I mean, listen, chat. I'm not saying they have to fix that Vortex thing now. While Mercy's still in this moment of like DPS passive gameplay, where like Mercy's just has unfortunately been playing worse because of that. I mean, you can leave things like that. I'm just saying, like I think eventually they might fix that.
You know how maps are full of railings?
Yes.
Well, Guardian Angel breaks through them, but a slingshot will get you stuck, and you'll have to melee. In summary, it's not fully consistent, but generally Guardian Angel is a lot less interruptible than slingshots and super jumps.
Okay.
Knowing the difference between these two phases is crucial for playing as Mercy and against her, since it can help remove a lot of the frustration.
I mean, I imagine playing against that can be tough at times, but yeah, that's cool. It's always fun learning these tips. That was really, really good. Okay, this one's from Mixed Freight, they say new Overwatch 2 heroes need more cosmetics, which I can't disagree with. I mean, if you're going to have the new heroes, you might as well come prepared with a few of the cosmetics, right? I'm not surprised to see Venture as the front of this video.
Overwatch heroes get no cosmetics.
History doesn't repeat, it rhymes!
Previously, whenever a new hero was released, we'd get a few legendaries and a singular epic skin, 2 highlight intros, and between 4 to 5 emotes. Now, we get nothing. Starting from Iliari, we got 2 base legendaries, 2 highlight intros, and 5 emotes, with the rest of her skins coming later in the shop or battle pass. Seems fine, right? Next hero, Mauga. 5 emotes, 2 highlight intros with another one in the battle pass, and oh, only shop and battle pass legendary skins. That's weird. Moving on to Season 10's release of Venture, we got no skins. Oh, never mind. We got, one $10 epic skin and 1 Twitch drop rare skin. Where the fuck are the legendaries? Okay, how about highlight intros? Oh.
Just to pause for a second, my guess is that, like, there's probably just something there where they need to, like, catch up back on, like, I don't know what you call it, like, the development pipeline or something. They're probably just because with, like, a bunch of stuff happening, that's probably what's happened here. I don't think they're actively going, just release the hero with no skins. No one wants them. Like, my guess is there's something that they're not going to go and just say why, but, like, there's probably a reason as to, like, why they don't have that, and it's something they probably don't want to do in the future. So I'm hoping that with Space Ranger, they start to get back into, like, allowing the heroes to have a few skins at the beginning, and give Venture skins during that too. But, like I said, we'll have to see.
Oh, 1 emotes? Sweet. 2, with another one being from the shop and the other one from the battle pass. The only 2 reasons this is happening to new heroes is 1, Blizzard could just be behind, and 2, money. All we can hope for is the best, but don't expect much for Space Ranger because...
I mean, that's what I'm saying. We'll see. We'll kind of have a better idea of where they're at with like those skins with the release of Space Ranger in August. Okay, this is Two-Legged Spider, and this is, they say, just say something. Don't ignore half of your player base's existence. So this is going to be an interesting one.
I can't be the only one who thinks Blizzard is just terrified of their own fans. Like, has anybody noticed that despite 6v6 being one of the biggest talking points in the community for over a year now, Blizzard hasn't said a single word about their format? I mean, they could literally just say no and it would be better than what they're doing right now, which is basically just pretending these people don't exist. And they just made all these dramatic changes to Tank to try and fix the role, but surprise, surprise, it didn't fix anything because the format as a whole is broken. Then you can look back at Season 9 when they added the DPS passive. Was anybody asking for a DPS passive? No. We were asking for healing to be nerfed because it became impossible to kill anything. But Blizzard actually refuses to nerf heroes because they are terrified at the backlash if they do. So instead of nerfing supports, they just buffed everyone's health and added the DPS passive. Once again, making Tank a worse role to play, by the way. The number of Tank players is actually dropping every single season, and now only 12% of players are actually...
Okay, so we're going to pause here, because it's actually a good thing to pause on. Actually, 1 second. I feel like we've heard, like, a lot of this discussion. 1, my guess is they probably have tested stuff with it to see if it would work again. So that's 1. I mean, I could be wrong on that one. 2, I think that, and it comes back to this, because it turns into, like, a deep discussion. Keep in mind, just to before I go into this discussion, I've enjoyed both. I don't mind playing either. I will think, like, the argument of, like, technically 6v6 will feel better for the tank is correct in the sense that, like, when you have the second tank, it alleviates some of the pressure. I'm also an off-tank player, which is why I think 5v5 has been, like, okay for me as a tank, only because I play more of, like, the like, main tank, what was traditionally a main tank, like a Reinhardt. Like, I play, like, Sigma, which Sigma, you know, fits into, like, 5v5. On the flip side, D.Va struggles a little bit in that sense, but, yeah, my guess is that no matter what it comes to that discussion, they're going to look at the queue times. I mean, it goes back to, like, talking about, like, the 6v6, and they bring up this screenshot here, which, from what I've heard, and chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think Overbuff has actually not been updated. Apparently, like, Venture isn't even updated. They did say that you can go off of that, but I think this might be one of the rare moments where, like, because they haven't updated any of this, I don't think it's quite a 12%, but I do agree that Tank is the least played role. Tank in any game is usually the least played role. So I think the numbers on Tank will go up a little bit there on that percentage, but I don't think it's going to be like by a crap ton. They put the DPS passive in there because they wanted to, like I said, help with the healing. They also wanted to increase the HP so that way when they made the hitbox changes to make it easier for players, whether it was good or bad, I mean, they're going to look at that and be happy with it because Season 9 was one of their most successful seasons. But yeah, I mean, I think people, to the flip side of what you're saying, is you just want them to either just directly talk about it or bring it up. And, you know, maybe there's a chance they do that. Maybe in one of the dev interviews it gets brought up and they talk about it. But yeah, so I think in the end, they're going to just probably reference queue times. It's so hard to get, like, 1 tank to queue up. Getting 2 to do that can be very difficult. And even then, in Overwatch 1, that became an issue, which that goes all the way back to roll queue. I mean, roll queue is where that really started, which I like roll queue. But it was, unfortunately, one of the things they had to do to kind of shift how things went. Because you could never get a tank to begin with before roll queue, so... It's an interesting discussion.
queuing the role. Meanwhile, those supports that never got nerfed make up 60% of the player base. If this trend continues within a few seasons, we are going to have the exact same queue time problem we had in Overwatch 1. And if you don't remember, basically the entire reason for swapping to 5v5 was because they couldn't get enough people to play tank and the queue times were insane. So now we need one less tank for a game and are about to have the exact same queue time issues. That should really tell you something about how unfun the role is. And notice how I said unfun and didn't say bad. Tank isn't a bad role. The heroes are genuinely overpowered. Because Blizzard...
I do want to pause there because we've actually talked about that. Tank, it's... And keep in mind, I've had a decent amount of fun in Season 11 with Tank, only because of the Soldier nerf has made it really, like, easier for me to, like, tank. But yeah, just a little side note on this one. Most tank players are not looking for the tank here to be made into, like, this raid boss who does 8,000 damage and, like, 5,000 HP. They just want the role to feel a bit more fun. It doesn't feel fun. Doesn't mean the hero isn't strong, it just means it doesn't feel fun. And it takes a lot to get there, so...
keeps choosing to buff their stats over and over instead of actually addressing the reasons tank isn't fun, which is 5v5. This video really wasn't supposed to be about 6v6, I just couldn't stop myself from going on that rant. Okay. I have more reasons as to why Blizzard's terrified of us, but at this point I might just make that into a part 2, so let me know if you're interested, and be sure to like and follow so you can see it once it's out.
Okay. The issue of getting people to play tank, though, was happening well before even 5v5. Of getting people to play tank. We're not going to talk about how tank felt playing in 6v6. We're going to talk more about, like, this has been an issue in games forever with tanks. It's how do you get somebody to sign up to be the punching bag? It's just, that's basically what it is. This one is from Javo. They say, playing Rhine in 2024. I'm sure this is going to be a treat.
Hey, welcome to playing Reinhardt. Some might say after picking Rhine, the next step is to hit H and choose another hero, but I'm not like other girls. There actually is one way to win with this hero. Before the doors open, make sure to type into chat Rhine v Rhine, and this actually works a lot of the time, unless they're a doofus player one trick. Fucking doofus players, you prick! Here's your IP address. Now that both tanks have selected Reinhardt, now you're no longer throwing. Just make sure to Rhine dip them. However, if you do, they might pussy out and counter swap to another hero and destroy you. They'll probably shove Orissa's spear deep inside your... In these moments, unfortunately, all you can do is accept defeat. And go install League of Legends.
Didn't Seagull already do that? Dude, you know what's funny about that? And even though this is a side note, I just realized this, by the way. So, Seagull's been playing League, right? The last time Seagull played Overwatch was when was the beginning of Season 9 or 10. Seagull queued with Flats and I. We've all flex queued. Seagull played tank, and then Seagull is now a League player. We haven't seen Seagull since. Seagull played a game of tank. He said, all right, I'm good. I'll see you later. He hasn't logged on since, and he became a League player. Also, this is a little bit inaccurate on the post. Everybody knows if you type Rhine vs. Rhine, they're going to come out of spawn as Mauga. All right, on to the last one here. This one is from Flank Metra, and this one says, a 900-hour sim god flanks the entire backline. So, chat was saying that these should be funny, so I'm curious to see.
In today's episode, I go flanking again, and this time I'm joined by my floating sidekick.
I greet you.
As the barbarians begin to push our defenses, we launch our assault. Oh, hello there! After we zap the BAP, it's time to fry the other guy. Where do you guys think you're going? Sit back down. After annihilating the entire team, it's time for round 2. Knock, knock. Open up, it's the FBI. We zero the hero Mercy and wave her goodbye. Where did that pesky Moira go? None leave the slaughterhouse. Not alive! Zarya tries to leave, so we help her out by kicking her into a pile of 3 screaming turrets.
Broken keyboard!
After the second team kill, me and Zen resume our flank and spank positions. As me and Zen celebrate with sprays, we got sprayed on from behind. The assassin immediately trashes my Ohio Gaiated flankiata. As I try to escape this brutal penetration, I join my fallen comrade in the halls of Flankhala.
Okay, I see why people like that. That's great. Oh, man. Those are the TikToks for today. So I hope you enjoyed the TikTok React. If you like these videos, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. If you want to submit TikToks for us to watch, look at my Discord. Pretty much anything with Discord, leave a comment. All of that helps with the algorithm. We also record these live on stream, so make sure to stop by if you haven't. We have a lot of fun, so stop by if you haven't. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.